Okay, you guys. So I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I went camping. Okay, not like super in the wilderness camping in a tent or anything, because that's like just never gonna happen for me. But camping in a cabin with no air conditioning during a heat wave for, if you've watched my earlier videos, you're gonna know this is a hot button word for me, Girl Scouts. I mean, like, the door-to-door selling is more than enough for me, right? For the cookies. I meet my goal. I got the axe to waddle, whatever the heck we got this year. I don't even remember. I don't even know if we've gotten the rewards for this year yet. But whatever, I hit my goal. I've done the things, okay? That's like as outdoorsy as I need to be going door to door. But the troop wanted to do an overnight, 2-night camping trip at a Girl Scout camp. And thank God we got assigned to a cabin, but I said yes to going. I had the most negative perception of camping you could possibly imagine. And I was like, I'm not ready for this. I'm not going to enjoy this. I had a negative attitude, and I'm not a negative person at all. But I had a real negative attitude going into this. And as it turns out, it was worse than I could have ever imagined. I could not believe the level of disdain that I had for the camping. It was a heat wave. It was an unair conditioned cabin. I go to the bathroom literally, and always have, like 3 times overnight. So then the bathroom, which is just like, a pit with basically like a garbage can with some sort of minimal toilet seat. Not that I ever sit on a public toilet seat anyway, or a toilet seat outside of my house. I'm only going to be squatting anywhere. Thank God for doing leg training, right? So I'm supposed to go over to this cabin at night, or leave the cabin at night to go into this gross toilet pit in a wooded area that's pitch black. I don't have any Liam Neeson-like skills. So if there's some sort of like marauder hiding in the woods, or, any sort of horror figure, I'm not prepared to handle that, first of all. And similarly, I'm not very naturey. So if there's a bear, a chipmunk, I'm not going to be prepared for that. That is just outside of my realm of comfort. I mean, everything outside of this was outside of my realm of comfort. So the daytime activities were like archery, swimming for 40 minutes because there was a 20-minute time frame where they were doing swim tests. They did slingshots, low ropes. We hiked to a gorge and a creek, campfires, all of these things, all of this stuff. Okay, not my favorite thing to do, but it's daytime. I'm with a group of people. I'm okay with this. Like, I can do that. I'm totally in the future for like a 2 to 3 hour drive to a campground. We do these activities and then I go home, or I stay at a hotel, right? Cool. I'm in for that. The overnight portion was so unbelievably miserable. Being in a group of people sleeping, first of all, is not for me. I don't want to know what other people wear to bed. I don't want to know how they sound when they're sleeping. I don't want to know what their activities are at night or their nighttime routine. I'm just not that interested in being involved with people on that level personally. I just want to know that they show up where we are and it's like, oh, look, this is how this person presents himself. Great. Okay, thank God nobody was gross. Everybody was fine. There was not even any snoring, so I really can't complain about that. I'm just saying, in general, I'm not interested in knowing that level of detail about anybody's personal life. The heat was unbearable. So we're laying on these cots or bunk beds, and my daughter wanted to snuggle, and I texted my husband after. We fell asleep after 4 a.m. So the lights went out at like 10:15 or 10:30 p.m. And then we were up before 6 a.m. So it was so much time to contemplate everything, anything you ever could have wanted to think about in life, everything that ever scares you in the middle of the night. I thought about all of that probably 10 times in that time period. And then you're sweating. I felt like a lamb or a pig on a spit at a roast. I felt insane. Like I could laugh. But thank God. Okay, so I did have to pee like 3 times. My daughter had to pee multiple times. But I have these things that I've kept in my car since I lived in South Carolina. They're camping. I think it's Travel Jane or Travel John, but they're packs that are molded to women, and then you can pee into them and your pee turns to gel. So there was a cleaning closet inside of the cabin. So I used that like 3 times, and there was running water with a sink, and of course I took soap. So that was okay, but it was like every time you had to go to the bathroom, you had to stand up, worry about disrupting everybody else in this crowd. Just sheer insanity. I will never do that again. So when I texted my husband the next morning, I was like, listen, I need you to know that if I ever consider doing this ever again, you need to commit me immediately. Because at this moment, after I've just experienced this night of misery, you could offer me $3 trillion, and that's not going to be enough to persuade me to live a life of insanity, even for one more night. So when everybody else got up in the morning, I was like, listen, I'm leaving. As soon as the activities are done in the evening, I'm out. And they were like, you're leaving? Why? And I was like, that was horrible. I'm never doing that again. I can't believe I did it once. I would never survive. Like Bear Grylls. I mean, like, I didn't understand people who cooked. That was bewildering enough. Camping. No, never friends, never again. I cannot describe the misery. And also I kept thinking to myself, like, this is something that you hate this much. You're this unhappy doing something that people do for fun recreation. I don't understand it. I am never camping again. I don't know if, like, you know, when you designate money to something, you donate to any sort of philanthropic cause, and you can donate, you know, does your thing go to a certain fund? I don't know if you can do the opposite of that. Like, please ensure that my cookie money does not apply to a camp in any fashion, because I don't want to do anything to contribute to doing that ever again. Day camps, fine. Driving and doing all the activities, fine. Sleeping over, no. That was a nightmare that I will never be doing again. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.